The rain tapped endless rhythms against the window, but inside, something darker was bleeding through the quiet. The cold autumn rain hammered the grime, smeared windowpane with relentless insistence, icy fingers weaving beneath Jonas's thin sweater like a clammy shroud creeping deeper into the fragile membrane that separated skin from despair. His cramped apartment, perched high above a slick, indifferent city, was a mausoleum of fading moments, brittle family photographs curled at the edges, their smiles now specters bleeding into yellowed paper. Scattered medical paraphernalia exhaled a sharp metallic tang, layered with antiseptic sterile promise and the faint, sickly sweet stench of long-forgotten flowers rotting beneath dust. Outside, neon lights fractured and bled like raw wounds into rain. Swollen puddles, they distorted reflections trembling to the storm's erratic rhythm. Inside, a flickering bulb cast a jaundiced halo of appealing wallpaper whose shadows clung thick as soot, pressing inward like the suffocating weight beneath Jonas's skin, a shade darker than twilight, deeper and more viscous than absence itself. His fingers shook visibly, cold yet slick with clammy sweat, as he retrieved the small syringe and crumpled packet stained with residue, coarse paper rasping like dry leaves against skin. A slow, suffocating dread wrapped around him, wet and smothering like a blanket weighed with rainwater. Just one more. His whisper fractured the brittle silence, shards of desperation echoing off cold, unyielding walls. A surrender loathed and long awaited, yet a vast, hollow void clawed beneath his ribs, a ravenous maw threatening to devour every flicker of reason. The addiction slithered beneath his flesh, a poison numbing edges until all certainty blurred and bled away. The threadbare couch beneath him seemed to vibrate with the tremulous pulse of his ragged heartbeat as his phone buzzed. Leah, his sister, calling. Her face flickered to life on the cracked screen, shadows carved deeply into her tired eyes. The weary architecture of exhaustion and distant hope marked in every crease. "Jonas, please talk to me," she pleaded, her voice a brittle line slicing through the haze, seeking the light trapped beneath his desolation. His fingers twitched, poised to recoil, but a fragile tether held. He inhaled raggedly, words stumbling, fragile like cracked ice. "I'm okay, Leah, just tired." Denial rippled through the line, a hollow echo swallowing truth whole, filling the void between them with fractured silence. When the call ended, his gaze drifted back to the faded photographs, smiles from days undrenched by shadow, faces now bleeding ghosts into the thick gloom. Outside, relentless rain drummed a maddening tattoo against the windowpane, the city's distant sirens pulsing in uneven tempo with his erratic pulse. Then, through the fractured glass, a distortion, a gaunt visage, pale and cracked like parched earth, stared from behind his hollow eyes. He blinked violently, chasing the cruel hallucination as if shattering the fragile veil tethering his mind to reality. But the unease thickened, gnawing at the marrow. The forgotten remote slipped silently off the coffee table, thudding mutedly into the stained carpet, yet the still air barely stirred. A whisper, soft, tremulous laughter, curled through the room, icy tendrils tracing down Jonas's spine, leaving a cold shiver in their wake. "Did you hear that?" His voice cracked, sharpened by panic. The walls seemed to breathe, exhaling shadows thick as ink, shifting and swelling, hinting at sinister silhouettes lurking just beyond perception. Colors melted and swirled, faces warped and twisted into grotesque masks frozen in silent torment. Vertigo seized him, dizzying and suffocating. Was this the morphine seeping through his veins, the ceaseless rain's relentless cadence, or the unraveling threads inside his frayed mind? Everything bled into a disorienting hall of mirrors, a fractured spiral where past and present shattered endlessly. His trembling hand reached instinctively for the syringe, hesitant and slick, breath hitching like a broken bird's wing. The walls throbbed imperceptibly, whispering secrets just beyond comprehension, seductive murmurs pulling him away from the man whose name Leah called with such fragile, heartbreaking hope. Then an urgent, insistent pounding shattered the stifling silence, hammering against his frayed nerves like thunder cracking dry earth. "Leah," he called, voice brittle with fragile hope. The pounding came again, heavier, more insistent. With slick, fumbling fingers, he crept to the door and cracked it open into the yawning gloom of the dim hallway. Empty, hollow, save for a slow drip from a cracked ceiling vent, a persistent cry echoing in the silence. No footsteps, no breath, only the chilling presence of unseen eyes hovering just beyond the edges of sight. Was it a trick of his faltering mind, or the cold stare of something far older, implacable? Back inside, the tenuous line between hallucination and grim reality slipped beyond reason. The syringe lay gleaming faintly on the stained floor, slick with something beyond medicine, dark, unspoken substances pooling in spectral light. In the corner a shadow hovered, shifting, flickering, cruel and ancient, neither wholly human nor ghost, a malignant echo nesting in peeling plaster and half-light. Jonas staggered back, breath shallow, voice gusting out a desperate plea, "Leave me alone." The shadow answered with hollow, cracked laughter, seeping deep into his bones, a sound drawn from the marrow of pain and despair. He collapsed onto the threadbare couch as the storm outside hammered the window with an escalating fury, its frantic rhythm drowning out sirens, whispers, even his ragged breaths. His mind unraveled in tangled waves of fractured memories, time folding back and forth, bleeding relentlessly through the labyrinth of a splintered self. In the darkness he glimpsed among the shadows Leah's anguished face, a reaching silhouette stretched across an abyss that swallowed her whole, dissolving into smears of sorrow and unanswered pleas. Suddenly the phone buzzed again. A flickering message glowed on the cracked screen. "I'm not giving up on you. Please don't give up either." Tears, mixed with cold sweat, traced rivers down his temple as Jonas stared at the fragile plea, the syringe inches away, a lifeline enmeshed with a shackle. Between surrender and total descent yawned an abyss, vast and merciless, a void where time thinned and identity splintered like fragile glass. Outside, the rain slowed to a sullen drip. The shadows stilled, ceasing their restless dance. But deep inside, Jonas knew the morphine's icy grip tightened, a creeping poison erasing reality beneath a fragile veil of inertia. Beyond these cracked, peeling walls, his soul hovered, suspended in cruel limbo stretched taut between merciless night and the flickering ghost of salvation. In the final sliver of waking thought, his gaze drifted back to the window, where the cracked reflection stared back, shattered shards of self splintering endlessly beneath the cold autumn rain, fractured, unyielding, and waiting. Step into the shadows beneath the skin, share your own unraveling tales, and subscribe to journey deeper into the fractured mind's darkest echoes.